Think about the way most of us approach love. At its best, it is built on trust, on listening, on being present for another human being. We are willing to show our vulnerabilities, to forgive mistakes, to celebrate growth. Yet, when we step into the workplace, something changes. We guard ourselves, we speak less openly, and we treat relationships as transactions rather than connections. The truth is, the lessons we learn in love are the very same lessons that could transform how we work with one another. In love, trust is everything. Without it, the relationship crumbles. The same is true at work. If you can't trust the people around you, you will always be looking over your shoulder, second guessing motives, hiding your real thoughts. Teams collapse not because of lack of talent, but because of lack of trust. Just as you wouldn't build a lasting love on suspicion, you can't build a thriving workplace on fear. Love also teaches us the value of communication. When you're in a relationship, you know how much it matters to really listen, to hear what isn't being said, to care enough to understand. Work is no different. Meetings, projects, collaborations, they all succeed or fail on how well we listen and how clearly we speak. When people feel heard, they feel valued. And when they feel valued, they give their best. We know in our lives that perfection is not the goal. Nobody expects their partner to be flawless. What matters is commitment, the willingness to stay, to work through the hard days, to grow together. Work relationships demand the same mindset. Colleagues will make mistakes, leaders will stumble, projects will falter. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. If we can forgive at home, why not forgive at work? If we can support a partner through difficulty, why not extend the same grace to a teammate? Perhaps the most powerful lesson love gives us is authenticity. In love, you cannot pretend forever. You have to show who you really are. That same authenticity is what makes great work relationships possible. People don't want to follow a mask. They want to follow a human. When we bring our whole selves to the workplace, when we lead with honesty, when we treat others with the respect we give those we care about most, everything changes. So the next time you think about how to improve your work relationships, don't look further than your own heart. Ask yourself, how do I treat the people I love? And then bring that same patience, that same honesty, that same trust into the office. Because the truth is simple. What makes love work is also what makes work relationships thrive. think about what makes a relationship last. In the early days of love, everything feels effortless. We give our best smiles, we listen carefully, we overlook flaws. But as time passes, real life sets in. Stress, disagreements, misunderstandings, they all test the bond. What decides the future of that relationship isn't the perfection of the beginning, but how we handle the messy, difficult moments. Now, picture a workplace. When a new job starts or a team launches a project, there is excitement, optimism, and energy. Everyone feels aligned. But then the pressure arrives. Deadlines close in, personalities clash, mistakes happen. Just like in love, the true test comes not in the honeymoon stage, but when things get hard. The ability of people to trust, to listen, to forgive, and to stay committed determines whether the relationship will strengthen or collapse. At home, we instinctively understand the importance of trust. Without it, everything else falls apart. The same is true at work. A team without trust is a group of individuals who protect themselves instead of supporting one another. When trust is strong, collaboration flows. When it is absent, fear and suspicion take over. Communication works the same way. In love, ignoring problems or bottling up feelings creates distance. We know we have to speak honestly and listen deeply. In work, however, we'd often forget this. We rush through meetings, speak more than we listen, or hold back the truth to avoid discomfort. But the principle is the same. Real communication is not about volume, it's about understanding. And then comes commitment. No relationship, personal or professional, can survive without it. Love demands forgiveness, patience, and the willingness to stay through hard times. Work is no different. Leaders will disappoint, colleagues will make mistakes, projects will fail. The bond survives not because it is flawless, but because everyone chooses to keep going. The greatest lesson love teaches us is authenticity. You cannot pretend forever. When you show up as yourself, flaws, fears, strengths, and all, love deepens. At work, too, authenticity matters. People don't follow perfect leaders. They follow human leaders. Colleagues don't bond over polished masks. They bond over honesty. Vulnerability builds respect more than pretending ever could. So if you want to know how to improve relationships at work, look at how you treat the people you love. You are patient with them. You forgive them. You listen when they are struggling. You encourage them to grow. These very same actions, if carried into the workplace, transform teams from groups of employees into communities that care for one another. What makes love thrive is exactly what makes work thrive: trust, communication, commitment, and authenticity. The principles never change. The only question is whether we choose to carry them with us into every relationship we build. When we think about love, we often think about the little acts that make it meaningful. Checking in with someone at the end of a long day, noticing when they are quiet, offering encouragement when they doubt themselves. These are not grand gestures, but small, consistent signals that say, I see you, I care about you, I am here. Strangely, we often forget that those same signals are what make professional relationships thrive. At work, it is not always the big promotions or bold strategies that bind people together, but the everyday gestures of respect, recognition, and empathy. In love, we know that listening matters. A partner who listens without judgment gives us confidence to speak our truth. In the workplace, colleagues crave the same. When someone truly listens, people feel safe enough to share new ideas, raise concerns, and even admit mistakes. And when mistakes are admitted early, they can be solved before they become disasters. Listening, in both love and work, is not passive. It is an act of trust building. Think, too, about honesty. In love, we know that hiding our real feelings creates distance. Pretending everything is fine when it is not only makes problems worse. Yet in work, how often do we hind polite nods in meetings, saying nothing even when we disagree? The healthiest love grows when honesty is spoken with kindness, and the healthiest teams grow when truth is shared without fear. The courage to say what matters is not only a gift to the relationship, it is a gift to the future. And then there is patience. In love, we accept that growth takes time. We forgive mistakes. We wait through seasons of difficulty. At work, however, we are often impatient, expecting instant results, flawless execution, immediate progress. But strong relationships, whether romantic or professional, are built not in speed, but in consistency. The willingness to stay the course is what allows trust and creativity to flourish. Above all, love teaches us presence. It reminds us to put away distractions, to give our attention fully, to show up not just physically, but emotionally. Work relationships benefit from the same presence. A leader who looks people in the eye, who remembers names, who celebrates effort as much as outcomes. This is the leader people want to follow. So if you want stronger connections at work, The lessons are already within you. Love has taught you what people need: attention, honesty, patience, and presence. The challenge is not learning new principles, but having the courage to apply what you already know. Think about what makes a love story memorable. It isn't the absence of conflict. It's the way two people choose to stay when things get hard. Arguments happen, misunderstandings hurt, and disappointments sting. But the bond survives because both decide that the relationship is worth the effort. The same truth applies in our work relationships. Success does not come from everything going smoothly. It comes from people choosing commitment when challenges test the connection. In love, commitment is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about showing up again after the mistakes, saying, "I'm still here." That message creates security. It reassures both partners that the bond is stronger than any single setback. At work, the same principle applies. A team's strength isn't measured when projects are easy, but when deadlines loom, when errors occur, when pressure rises. If people know their teammates won't abandon them at the first sign of trouble, they give more, they risk more, and they grow more. Consider how easily we forgive in love. A forgotten anniversary, a careless word, none of these destroy a relationship if commitment runs deep. In work, however, we often treat mistakes as final verdicts. One missed target, one failed presentation, and suddenly trust evaporates. But just as in love, growth at work comes through patience and forgiveness. The willingness to learn together rather than punish keeps the relationship alive and builds resilience. Commitment also means investing in the long term. In love, we don't expect instant perfection. We understand that closeness deepens over time. Yet in work, many demand immediate results and flawless performance. But meaningful professional relationships, like love, require seasons. They grow through shared experiences, setbacks, recoveries, and small victories. The leader or colleague who stays, who consistently shows up even when progress is slow, becomes the anchor others rely on. The beauty of commitment is that it creates freedom. In love, when we trust that someone is not going to leave, we feel safe to be ourselves. We laugh more, dream more, even disagree more honestly. At work, when people know the team won't fall apart at the first challenge, they feel secure enough to innovate, to try bold ideas, to speak their minds. Stability breeds courage. So whether in love or in work, the principle remains the same. Commitment is not about avoiding storms. It's about standing together in them. The people who thrive are not the ones who never stumble, but the ones who keep choosing each other after every stumble. In love, the most powerful moments are the ones when we feel safe enough to be ourselves. When you don't have to wear a mask, when you can admit your fears, when you can laugh at your own flaws and know you'll still be accepted. That's when love becomes real. Authenticity is the foundation of intimacy. And the same is true in our work relationships. People don't connect with roles, titles, or polished RA-summes. They connect with people who are real. Too often, the workplace encourages us to put on armor. We present the version of ourselves we think will be accepted, confident, composed, flawless. But just as in love, this performance has limits. Pretending is exhausting, and sooner or later, the mask cracks. Authenticity, on the other hand, builds trust. When a leader admits, "I don't have all the answers," the team doesn't lose faith. They gain respect. When a colleague says, "I made a mistake, but here's what I learned," others lean in closer, not farther away. Vulnerability doesn't weaken relationships. It strengthens them. Think about how love deepens when someone lets you see their imperfections. A partner's honesty about their struggles makes you feel closer, not further apart. At work, the same principle applies. When people share their real stories, when they admit challenges, when they express genuine excitement or frustration, they stop being coworkers and start being human beings to one another. Authenticity invites connection, and it goes further. Authenticity isn't just about honesty, it's about consistency. In love, we want to know that the person we care for will be the same in private as they are in public. At work, we crave the same from leaders and teammates. A leader who treats people with respect in every setting builds loyalty. A colleague who shows up with the same integrity, no matter the audience, earns trust. Consistency is authenticity in action. What authenticity creates, both in love and in work, is belonging. When you know you don't have to pretend, you relax, you bring your full self. You contribute ideas without fear of judgment. And belonging is what transforms groups into communities. So the lesson is clear. Just as love demands authenticity to flourish, so do our professional relationships. Masks may impress for a moment, but they never build lasting bonds. If you want stronger teams, more meaningful connections, and deeper trust, show up as yourself. The courage to be authentic is the bridge between love and work that changes everything.